Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for another entry into two separate playlists here on the channel. The first will be the As I Lay Dying playlist, but the second will be the opening paragraphs playlist. Obviously, we're doing the opening paragraph for As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. And the opening paragraph to As I Lay Dying reads as such. Jewel and I come up from the field, following the path in single file. Although I am 15 feet ahead of him, anyone watching us from the cotton house can see Jewel's frayed and broken straw hat, a full head above my own. It's a brief one, but we're going to read it again. Jewel and I come up from the field, following the path in single file. Although I am 15 feet ahead of him, anyone watching us from the cotton house can see Jewel's frayed and broken straw hat, a full head above my own. The number one thing that I think we need to talk about here is the fact that we're in first person. This might seem fairly trivial, but it's going to be absolutely necessary for understanding everything that comes later in the novel. It's also going to be absolutely necessary for understanding all of the strange little quirks that happen in this novel. For example, Addie has a chapter. Addie is after whom the book is titled, As I Lay Dying. Addie is dead. Being first person, knowing we're first person from the very opening of this book, we have to respect the fact that it's a dead person dying, or talking. Dead person talking. Dead person dying. What a trick to die twice. But also, we understand, and it's going to be backwards, but you can use your imagination. Daryl. We understand that the chapters will be titled by the person who is speaking. This is not all that unusual a quirk for a novel, but it helps to know up front that that's what's going on. That's what we're getting. The second thing that I think is worth talking about, Jewel. We understand that Jewel is with Daryl, and Jewel is a him. It's a strange name for a him, but Jewel is a him, and boy, is he tall. A lot taller than Daryl. We'll learn later that Daryl and Jewel are brothers. This is why it's necessary for Daryl to tell us that Jewel looks so much different than does he. Because, spoilers for a 100-year-old novel here, Daryl and Jewel are brothers, but not directly. Like they're one parent apart, and it's apparent. So there's that going on. Boy, are they different looking. The next thing I want to talk about, anyone watching us from the cotton house. This tells us right off the bat, hey, you're probably in the South. But why? Why is Daryl so concerned with other people's perspectives? Daryl's a bit freaky. Daryl's kind of a weirdo. Daryl, I'll get back to this later. But what we're talking about there, anyone watching us from the cotton house, who's watching them from the cotton house? If there is someone in there, Daryl might be aware of it. A small thing, they're both wearing frayed and broken straw hats. This tells us a little bit about the fact that they're both wearing them, which means that they're both used. They're not just coming from the field. They're probably coming from the field where they do work. Those aren't stylish hats. Also, they're frayed and broken. Tells us a little bit about the financial situation of the Bundrens. We don't know they're the Bundrens yet, but they are. Jewel, however, or Daryl. Let's get back to Daryl. Daryl is leading the action. That's going to mean strange things when imagining the implications of this novel. The implications of this novel. The title is from Addie. Addie is the reason the novel is taking place. Addie is the one who has died. Cash is the useful one. Jewel is the reason for the novel. Addie might be the reason. Addie might be the reason everything is happening. Ants is the reason they're all going. But Jewel's the reason this whole thing is happening. The reason that is conceptualized in a novel. However, it is Darrell leading the action, leading the charge. Darrell has second sight. Darrell is a visionary. Darrell can see things. Darrell's in touch with the other world. Or is he? No. Not really. Yes, he is. Darrell really is in touch with a second sight. But he's not. Oh, yes, he is. How do you read this novel? Darrell, I think, is William Faulkner's stand-in. Number one, he's a lot shorter than his brother. That's a short joke on old Faulkner. Faulkner was not allowed to join the army because he was too short, standing only 5'2". Darrell's a lot shorter than his brother. Darrell is a visionary. The closest thing we have to an artist here. Darrell is able to conceptualize things, to see things from other people's point of view, much like a writer does. Darrell is also a veteran. Page 254. We get this. Darrell had a little spyglass he got in France at the war. Now, I told you, Darrell was Faulkner's stand-in in the novel. His avatar in the writing, Darrell is the individual that Faulkner sees himself as in the book. But Faulkner was denied entry to the army because of his height. Then he went to a different country and joined the Air Force. So he was in, I don't think he saw active duty, but he was in the war tertiarily, peripherally. We won't know that from the opening paragraph, but it is absolutely important to know that this novel begins with Darrell being the driving force. Darrell is in the driver's seat. Darrell's leading the charge, leading the action. That tells us a whole lot. Darrell is special in this narrative for some reason. It is on us, the reader, to understand why, to figure out why, to see why, to adopt someone else's point of view and understand why. The implications of this in this novel are massive. It's titled after Addie. It's started because of ants wanting to go get them teeth. Jewel is absolutely the reason all this hell has broken loose. Cash is the one necessary to keeping the family together. Why is Darrell so important? Why is Darrell so necessary? Why must we begin this journey with Darrell? Shortly after this passage, they come to that cotton house. Darrell takes the long way around the building. Jewel, being so tall as he is, goes straight through the building, stepping into and out of the open windows, much like old Abraham Lincoln did when he was in Congress and got embarrassed on the floor. Fled right through the window. Don't know if you know that story, but as they come to the cotton house, like I said, Darrell takes the long way around. Jewel goes straight on through. Afterwards, Daryl is following Jewel. Is this old William Faulkner relinquishing the novel from him, the writer, to his characters, letting the characters themselves lead? I think that's what we're getting here. The first name we see, the first chapter in which we find ourselves, is from the point of view of Daryl, maybe the writer. The first name on the page we get, however, is Jewel. Being the first word in a sentence, we've no reason to know at the onset of this novel that Jewel is a character. It's just the word Jewel. That is not accidental. Faulkner begins this novel with Jewel, the pride of his mother. Jewel being not a person. Jewel being the noun of a polished rock. Jewel. It is a jewel. We do not begin this novel with Jewel by the name. We have no reason to believe, by seeing the word Jewel, that it is a character. So in your mind's eye, the moment the word Jewel happens on the page, until your second read through, you do not know that's a character. And I don't know if you've heard this quote. It comes to us from Neil Gaiman. The second draft makes it look like we knew what we were doing the whole time. Neil Gaiman saying this, of course, from a writer's perspective. So that first paragraph on that second draft, old Billy Faulkner knows exactly what he's doing. That is all I have for this video. I have new videos here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays are for poetry. I also have new videos on my personal channel Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a link to which can be found in the description below. Over on my personal channel, I do movie reviews, I do general vlogging, I do goal setting stuff, I do some workout type stuff, do a whole lot of stuff over there that's not this stuff. On this channel, we only talk about literature, including Mondays, which are for poetry.